All right, guys, so we're going to watch one of the videos from my Blender Octane 101 guide. It's a full course that I'm basically making to teach you how to use Blender Octane. For those of the members who are in the community, they get immediate access to videos as they're being released because I'm building the course as we go. So if you're interested in that, check the link down below. Quick little update here to the 101 guide. We do have some other nodes which I did not have mentioned. These are basically going to be the cycles wrapper nodes. You can clearly see down here on the bottom, if we go full screen here, I have these cycles nodes here. We've got like a vector mix node. We've got another mix. We've got several, like some of these nodes, I think I might have the wrong node selected for cycles versus the octave, but this is mainly about the octave, and these are this kind of like their knockoffs basically, right? So we've got the color mix node here in cycles, which we use a lot, heavily a lot, when you're doing, you know, mixing of shaders and different textures and things like that. Well, here is the Octane version of that. And again, when you're in Octane, for example, I'm in cycles at the moment. So if you're in cycles, you only get cycles nodes, right? I'm using the 4.53 add-on version of Blender Octane, and these are all just cycles nodes. And then when I switch over to Octane, now if I come back here, now we got Octane nodes. If you come down here, you'll see Octane texture wrappers. Here are the Octane cycle mix color nodes. Here are all of them basically, right? So this one here is basically kind of like a knockoff version of the mix color node, which is really helpful because a lot of mixing of stuff, you use this node here. Then we also have this Octane Cycles mix float node wrapper. And I think that's basically going to be like a float node. And I'm not sure if I have the correct one here selected. Actually, I don't think I do because this one does not have a selector here. So that would probably be something different. If you're in cycles and you know that you have a mix of float values, this would be your node right here. Then we also have this Octane Cycles node math node wrapper. So basically like the math node here, which I think I do have the correct one for cycles selected. Here is the Octane version. Again, we got the clamp, we've got the clamp, you've got the math here. Look, power, all of these math here. And then we've got all the math here, which I know Octane does have more math, so I think they pretty much got them covered. There's the power, so I clearly see the exact ones here. Then we also have the Octane Cycles Mix Float 3 node wrapper. Now this one kind of confused me because I couldn't figure out non-float what exactly this equivalent was in cycles. I'm not sure if it's this node or not. I don't have the correct node, maybe probably not. But and then also we have the cycles node vector math node. Again, this is only working on vector, and here it is Octane. And then I think I have it selected correctly here for the cycles version. Here's the cycles version, and then here is the Octane version. I haven't really used many of these. The only one I definitely have used was this one here, the Octane Color Mix node, where I followed a tutorial where somebody was using the Color Mix node a lot, and I actually used it here. And I actually find myself using it quite often now these days. But I can replicate the exact same thing by using a composite texture, and I feel like I have more control with the composite texture doing that. Quickly, just to jump in, I chimed in with the Octane bot to help me out on the research of this, and I wanted to share you guys some of the results that it gave me here. What are the cycles wrapper nodes? These are nodes in Octane that replicate or wrap certain cycle shaders, texture, math, utility nodes. The idea is to allow users to bring it in, build shader graphs in a cycle style using Octane's rendering behind it. Their major cycles node behaviors fairly close. Some parameters slightly, dang, I can't read, sorry guys, no coffee, I'm coming in dry. Some parameters, similar math functions, etc, etc. Again, we can click on this here and we can go deep in where it's getting this information. This was all from the Octane bot, which is available in the Skool community for those of you guys who are at level 3, I think, level 3. Again, it gives us a breakdown, list of the key wrapper nodes and what they do. Here is a main node in cycles texture wrap group. Plus, what can you expect from each one? Wrapper node, Octane, cycles node, math node, wrapper. Again, his purpose, behavior, implement cycles, math nodes, taking numerical inputs, support and many other operations. Some of its key features, types, choose math, add, subtract, supporting, and again, other ones here. Cycles, mix color node wrapper, similar to cycles mix RGB or color mixing node, takes in color inputs and mixes them and blends them. Cycles mix float node, Blend interpolates mode between two values, useful for procedural effects, masks, etc. Cycles mix float 3 node, like a mixed flow node, but has 3 vectors or 3 component floats, offering mite, or mite in Japanese means look. I'm always saying that because of my daughter. Often colors or XYZ vector mixing, which is probably one that you guys might be looking for, some type of this right here, this type of math going on. Cycles node vector math node. Implement the vector node math node operations on 2 or 3 component vectors, add, subtract, dot, cross, etc. Useful for normal manipulation, right? Here are some limitations and things to watch out for. Because they wrapper cycles behavior, sometimes the behavior isn't exactly identical, especially around edge cases, interpretation types, conversion, or performance. Again, guys, they're just kind of doing a little bit of math to get it close to it. So don't think it's a one-to-one match. I never think anything is a one-to-one match when you're coming from Cycles to Octane, right? Or any other render engine, right? Not all cycle nodes are wrapped. If you try to port over a Cycles graph that uses a node support, uses a node not supported, you will find an Octane native alternative. Okay, for some operations, Octane implementations might have different precisions or GPU behaviors. The wrappers are designed more for convenience and compatibility than for optimization. Octane workflows, sometimes using native Octane nodes gives better performance or more advanced features. And I've basically done that. Like, that's how I really learned Octane, reverse engineering. Okay, if they do this in Cycles, it can be done in Octane. It just might be a different way and or different nodes, right? The only thing that really we can't really do yet is when you start getting into the geometry world and attributes. That hasn't happened yet. But that's why they're trying to work on getting the add-on version better, and then it'll be easier to port those stuff over than having this complete standalone version of Blender Octane. So if you're into geometry nodes, bear with it. Once we get that add-on going, I think we'll start getting more improvements between attributes. When and why to use them. When merging or converting material shaders from Cycles to Octane, these wrappers make it easier. When you have a procedural setup you've already built in Cycle system, right, in Cycle style, this and you want to reuse it logically, you want to rebuild it. Okay, basic, you're going to have to rebuild it. There's still no one button click to just convert these massive node setups. Okay, for artists more comfortable with cycle nodes workflows, generally adapting to Octane, this reduces the learning curve. It does. And then here again, source documents, Cycles, texture wrapping, Octane documentation, and we're basically jibba jabba. Okay, so quick little rundown on these nodes here. And I hope they will help you guys, especially for those of you. I get a lot of questions about Cycles materials. Can we convert them over to Octane? Yes, but you got to put in a little bit of work. And then once you start to do this whole workflow over and over and over, you'll start seeing patterns and you'll know what nodes to go to. I learned it when I was trying to convert a Cycle scene over to Octane, and literally 2 weeks I started seeing the pattern. I knew exactly what nodes I needed to use when I saw that certain node inside of in Cycles. I'm like, oh, I know what node to do it is, and you know. You guys got to put in the work a little bit. If you guys want to see more videos like this, you can join my Blender Octane Skool community and have access to the full 101 guide. For the next 7 days, I'll knock $10 off. Links down in the description. See you guys on the inside. Peace.